I am Dr. Anton Reese. I have the incredible privilege of serving as the president of West Kentucky Community and Technical College. Today, I want to share a historic gift and some of the context behind that. But let me hover for a moment because I want to be sure I actually read it because I'm nervous I may forget something. And most of you know I very rarely read things directly. Let me just say that certainly, as my wife, the First Lady Connor Reese, who's here in attendance, would attest, I've had many sleepless nights keeping this on the wraps, but I do want to share this. I cannot adequately capture the historic significance and the generational, transformational regional impact of this historic gift. I want to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation on behalf of the WKCTC family to a generous philanthropic individual, Mackenzie Scott, for her vision and commitment to furthering important issues that address the social equity and economically challenged communities. You know, last Wednesday at Rotary, I shared that 2020 was indeed the best of times and the most challenging of times. Many of our historic national rankings, and certainly coupled with all things COVID-19. But to end this unique year with this historic and transformational gift is incredibly daunting and humbling. But not today. So I want to recognize the incredible WKCTC family, more specifically, the faculty, staff, who have gone beyond the call of duty in the midst of a dual pandemic of COVID-19 and our national racial and social unrest to successfully provide a three-pronged approach of face-to-face, hybrid, and virtual options to ensure all of our students succeed. And to our faculty, staff, students, and cabinet members who are here today, on behalf of our students, thank you. And that's bolded, capitalized, and italicized. You made this happen. At this point, I would also like to recognize our college stakeholders, including the WKCTC Board of Directors, and you'll be hearing from Chair Charles Murphy momentarily, PJ Foundation Chair Ann Gwynn, who will be making remarks as to the gift which will be accepted and managed through our PJC Foundation. I also want to thank our numerous private and public supporters watching in, incredible support of the mission of WKCTC, which, as you know, we are an open-door institution, serving an eclectic group of students from traditional students, veterans, and adult students. And as my CAO, Dr. Mahan, would say, to recruit, retain, and to release, either to go directly to work or transfer to a four-year institution. There will be speculation as to how this incredible gift will be utilized. So in the following months, I will be revealing how the award will be endowed, and some will be used to launch what I will be calling then the WKCTC Guarantee. So this is a guarantee of high-profile partnerships for education, including K-12 schools, the Innovation Hub, Murray State University, nonprofit organizations supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion, including the NAACP, Black Greek organizations, and for our rural regions, including the incredible work of the Four Rivers area, addressing transportation and Wi-Fi access issues. And ultimately, our goal is to serve a large number of adults. In Kentucky, there are 367,000 adults who do not have a high school diploma, a GED. It's an enormous challenge, but we are up to the challenge, and I intend for this gift to be a generational game changer. I want adults seeking pathways to completing education, upgrading skills, those who've been displaced, losing jobs, magnified under COVID-19. And many maybe, as I speak on this day, are still unsure about ever returning to education. In addition, a top priority is navigating not only through COVID-19, but as we head into 2021, coming out of 2021 with COVID-19. So we want to increase jobs, work readiness, training, upgrading skills through intentional partnerships led by Kevin O'Neill, our VP of Workforce Solutions, with the Paducah Chamber, all of our regional economic partners to expand and support the success of small and diverse businesses. So with no further ado, I am incredibly pleased and humbled to announce and thank Mackenzie Scott for awarding West Kentucky Community Technical College out of over 7,000 organizations that they reviewed using data and leadership, a historic gift of $15 million. This historic $15 million gift is not only the largest in Paducah Junior College history, but is one of the largest gifts in American history for over 1,000 community technical colleges. And it's with that enormous responsibility and daunting opportunity that my pledge is, along with this great team, to transform this entire region on yet another level. Part of what drew me back to Paducah after spending 13 years at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. If you spoke from anyone from the chancellor all the way down to the men and women in blue, I was asked, are you going to remain at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville? It's a rather prestigious research one institution, one of the tops in the country. They will tell you that from day one when I interviewed, I made it very clear, I'm a community guy. I am a community college person. I love the fabric of communities and the intricacies and the challenges that they face. But when I left Paducah in 2003, I felt that it was unfinished business. I felt that the West never fully maximized its potential because of the regional segregation of our areas and the disconnect with our outlying rural areas. So I was very intentional through outreach and with great teams of really trying to bring our region together. And likewise, I've also felt the West has never really maximized its diversity. We have got to figure out a way of bridging the gap of inequities to make the West, which as we know is challenged with declining population. Through this gift, we'll be able to transform more individuals, especially those 20 to 40-year-olds, young and diverse, first generation, lower socioeconomic, to remain in our region. Why not the western part of Kentucky? Why should we not lead the Commonwealth? And through this gift and with your support, I look forward to the next chapter of WKCTC. At this point now, I will bring up our chairman, Charles Murphy. Please give him a round of applause.
Wow. I had something else, but just wow. Just unbelievable. On the behalf of the board of WKCTC, we are truly blessed to receive such a generous gift from Ms. Mackenzie Scott. This will allow WKCTC to move to the next level in education and to meet the needs of diverse and low-income students throughout the Four Rivers and the region. I would especially like to thank Dr. Reese, his faculty and staff for the great job that they do for these kids. And again, just wow. Thank you. I'd like to introduce the PJC Board Chairman, Ms. Gwynn.
First time I've had my mask off around people in a long time. In Janet Bly's wonderful history of this college entitled Upward Stride, she recounts the story of the Reverend J.E. Underwood's opening address to students and faculty at Paducah Junior College on September 12, 1932, the first day of classes. He charged his audience to recognize the possibilities that were before them, noting that the challenges of tomorrow are the real value, that's in quotes. And he concluded by saying, again in quotes, "Let us continue the upward stride." And for the next 88 years, this college has done just that, always aiming at sights high. This historic gift to our college, which will have long-lasting impact as a testimony to the long history of success at West Kentucky Community and Technical College and its predecessor institutions. Paducah Junior College has served as the fundraising arm of WKCTC and its predecessors for decades. And on behalf of its Board of Trustees, I'm delighted to accept this gift and to assure you that it will be put to good use, not an understatement. Having served on this board for almost 32 years, I can attest to the hard work of the faculty and the staff and the administration they put forth every day under Dr. Reese's leadership. The commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion and outreach to underserved populations that he has been notably congratulated for, and we're delighted that these efforts have been recognized. We will continue with the support of this enormous gift to continue our upward stride. And for that, thank you, Mrs. Scott, for identifying West Kentucky Community and Technical College as a worthy recipient, and we promise excellent stewardship of her extremely generous contribution. And I will add as my final 2 cents, I believe we have a new saying, Dr. Reese: go west, young men. Go west, young women. Go west, old people. We all go west. Thank you. Oops.
Thank you so much. Before I get ready to answer questions, let me also make a very important observation that certainly this, again, is an incredible day and a celebration for West Kentucky Community Technical College. So you know, we serve as one of 16 colleges across the Kentucky and Community Technical College system. So certainly this is a celebration for our system and our reach as the largest post-secondary provider and workforce provider in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So I also enjoy this with many of our colleagues who interface seamlessly with our college. With that, I will pause to see if there are any questions from the press, and take it from there. Any questions from the press?
Go to the microphone.
Sure, yes, thank you. Only easy questions.
When did you initially learn about this gift, and what was your initial reaction whenever you found out this was going to be a thing?
It's a priceless question. So it was exactly the 29th of November. And I must confess that not only initially, I thought it was a hoax. And as you can imagine, not only I thought it was a hoax, if you were present within the conversation, I was still dubious, even after 2 or 3 following communications. I had some of my team to do some preliminary investigation. But then when I actually, saw that it was real, that's where my sleepless nights definitely began. So yeah, I would say just about the week after Thanksgiving was when I was first made aware of it as well.
Gotcha. Obviously, you're going to try and use this gift with the utmost stewardship. Are there any moonshot ideas that the WKCTC community is mulling about? Is there any grand goal that has just been out of reach before that this is going to be used for?
So a real important question, and as I mentioned, over the next couple of months, I obviously want to get with our various teams, get the input from the incredible faculty and staff that I referenced, to ensure that we get a good, sense of what those needs are. Certainly talking to some of our community partners, many that I've mentioned. But the core of everything that we do, this gift must be tied directly back to student success. And students broadly define traditional adults, et cetera. Because it is critical that those that are clearly involved in economic growth, the viability areas, it comes down to how educated and workforce ready you have as many people as you can. And so the core of it would be to lift those ships with a backdrop consistent with the philanthropic gift from Mrs. McKenzie that is also about that equity, bridging those gaps so that we want to be sure that all members of our society get an opportunity to elevate their area. So it'll be a series of items then that would land to that. I think you call it moonshot type thing. But I think that speaks also to the power of collaboration and really staying attuned as to what those current and generational needs are.
Gotcha. And then I guess my last question would be, if Mackenzie was here, what would you tell her that, how would you thank her? What would you say that she has done for both the school and for this West Kentucky community?
After probably about 10 minutes of open mouth, thank you, in reading through her vision and work, you know, there's an adage that, and I think about this certainly as I age, sometimes is about, arguably, certainly in my lifetime here, if you will, in the U.S., I cannot think of a time in our nation's history where we are at such a complex juncture with both this dual pandemic of health and certainly racial and social injustices, which have been around actually for a long time. But to have that dual, the timing of an individual who looks beyond was there and pretty much plants very, very important seeds with unrestricted, but focused on ultimately, we can choose sides, we can debate, we can do all these different things, but ultimately, I think the quintessential testament of leadership is the ability sometimes to step above the rhetoric and the conversation and focus on lifting people up, because it is real. Lives are definitely at risk on so many levels. And so this is an opportunity, I believe, by way of that vision to be part of that. And just really on behalf of WKCTC, because well, all is said and done, I mean, there are over 4,500 colleges. They looked at over 7,000 organizations, so they went beyond colleges to nonprofits, et cetera. And for West Kentucky Community Technical College to be in that net, that is just indescribable. And so I would, once I get beyond being speechless, I would want to absolutely compliment her for the intentionality on what that means. And it's a generational transformative development. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I guess my first question, have you called the other community and technical colleges yet and said, ha-ha?
So, it was a little more than ha-ha. Today was our, we call it the PLT, the President Leadership Team. So I was actually on Zoom call for our regular President's meeting. And also in attendance was the head of CPE, Dr. Aaron Thompson, who actually was a faculty member when I was a student at Eastern Kentucky University. So I was able to share broadly this incredible news. And, you know, as you can imagine, there's jubilation all around. And of course, it's a very special thing again that we're making a lot of noise here in the West, you know, and you'll hear me continuously reiterate that the thing that keeps coming to me is the underestimation of the West, but who is championing our narrative and what are the associated things that we have to demonstrate to show. So, yes.
I know schools generally have a lot of irons in the fire. What criteria would a project or program have to present to receive a portion of this very generous gift?
That's a real good question. And as you can imagine, I mean, let's start even with nonprofits. You know, they have various missions doing very unique and special things. So to me, in many ways, it will be customized to the mission and vision of the nonprofits and ways in which it supports individuals and that it aligns with the mission and vision of our college. You know, as I mentioned, with intention, community and technical colleges are unique as open door institutions. You know, meaning, and this is not by any way, shape, form, or fashion an aspersion to our, you know, four-year colleagues, which obviously I spent quite a bit of my tenure as well. But I think that our ability to be community grounded and centered and being able to respond almost in real time gives that flexibility to meet nonprofits and to meet our education partners and others where they are. So there'll be clearly flexibility, but obviously it needs to align with that mission and vision, consistent with Mackenzie Scott's vision of uplifting people.
And my final question would be, how crucial is it that this very generous gift, portions of it be spent on helping young people of color or any person of color, age regardless, with community college education and workforce preparedness?
Very, very, very powerful question. So let me also add this to be unequivocally clear. Certainly, my bio and resume is there for the world to see. It is pretty clear as I stand. Obviously, I am a person of color. I recognize what that represents. Not only obviously for me, my family, but certainly individuals obviously that reflect within my culture and those not within. Sometimes a good measure is to see success and to see someone looking like you at a level where ordinarily that may have been a pipe dream, even in 2020. It is also very important that for us as a college, or initiatives around diversity, equity, inclusion, especially hiring, that we get more people of color in the classrooms and in the staff positions is also equally important. And certainly is a commitment that I have and will continue to have. Our partnerships with groups like the NAACP, the various Greek organizations. We have an initiative that was temporarily put on hold with our Hispanic outreach, which we plan on reconnecting once we can navigate through COVID. So certainly for communities of color and individuals of color, it is very important and central and consistent with her vision of social and racial equality in education and economically.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Can you just talk about what this means for the school, having this now?
So it means, from my perspective, certainly 2 or 3 key things. As PJC Foundation Chair Ann Gwynn mentioned, one of our colleagues, Janet Blythe, has done an incredible job of capturing the history of this organization, of this college, merging 2 incredibly deep and rich cultures. When you sit back and you think of that rich history on the then West Kentucky technical portion of that partnership, founded by Dr. Charles Anderson in 1909, as a college for African Americans, of course, predates civil rights, segregation and all that. Paducah Junior College as a municipality, providing education in this portion of the state, supported by the community. Strikes me that continuing that legacy of excellence at that next level is deeply enrooted within our efforts. Second, the consistency of what we've been able to achieve at the national and the regional level by way of recognitions like Aspen and Bellwether, those sort of things, speaks very powerfully about what we try to do here on a daily basis, and maybe in some ways a little better than most. I would do a direct quote from the chair of the Aspen visiting team. And Aspen to me really stands out because you can't apply for Aspen. They get about 30-something experts from around the country, different group of people each time, to go in and look at your data. And so efforts, Dr. Renee Aiken has up our institutional research data, that type thing, and leads a lot of these efforts. They go in and pretty much verify what you say that you try to do, including student success, bridging the gap between minority groups and traditional groups, et cetera. So it speaks quite a bit to those efforts. But as the chair said, as part of the closing visit virtually, that it is evident that excellence is in the DNA of West Kentucky Community Technical College. So it means a lot. And it means to me even more now that I've traveled a little further, that I don't ever want confused. Let this be noted, I guess, in the annals of history. There's a term that we use at Paducah in the Western region, we punch above our weight. I think it says a lot that this college, out of 1,000 community technical colleges, more than punches above its weight. We have transformative opportunities, and certainly with this gift, it's that next chapter to take things up to the quintessential level. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate appreciate you, and stay tuned for more exciting things from West Kentucky Community Technical College. Thank you all so much.